What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Stay Hot Live. I'm Blaiden Kirk. We would be joined by both of my favorite co-hosts, Matt and Theo, but Theo is ill. He has a fever, and so it's just Matt and I today. And Matt's internet is ill. It has a fever,
Yeah,
so
Spectrum sucks. Spectrum's terrible, dude.
we're never getting a Spectrum sponsorship.
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk about Spectrum being awful. I wouldn't take it. They could offer me $1 billion. I have
A bi-
morals.
a billion? Come
Yeah,
on.
they suck, man. Don't get
Uh,
Spectrum.
don't get Spectrum. All right, fair enough. Well, we had some games happen. Well, I guess the first thing we need to talk about um, is the stuff that we missed on Monday's podcast release, which is like the Trey Lance injury, and then I can't remember what games we didn't get around to, but the Trey Lance injury I know was the big one. Um, I don't know. I'm still confident enough in the 49ers to like still be a good. They went to the NFC Championship last year with Garoppolo. Like they're still going to be fine, but I think this just probably lowers their ceiling for what they can be. And then there's obviously concern long term for Lance. Like the next time we see him will be 2023, and he will have started in what, 3 games?
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work. He's still very young though, so that's good. But I mean,
Yeah.
what are we supposed to say about the 49ers? They're just the exact same team they were last year pretty much
Right.
now. It really sucks for Lance. This is why we didn't talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, this is what we put like we were in the group chat talking about like, oh, are we going to talk about the 49ers? And it's like, what is there to say that like we haven't said before about them? We thought Lance would be a guy that could elevate this offense to a level that it hadn't been able to be at before. But now that he's hurt, which apparently supposedly the surgery went well, so that's good. But he's not going to play again this year. So I mean, you just yeah, I don't know. There's not a whole lot to say about it. It's just like sucks for Lance, and we'll just have to see what the future of the 49ers looks like now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to take another year to see Lance.
Just another year.
It really
What
sucks that he's
else?
not playing.
What else did we miss from Sunday? Was there anything else?
Not much, man. I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean,
Did we talk about the Jags? I think we
I think
did
we,
talk about the
I think we
Jags.
did. They're pretty good. Trayvon
Is
Walker.
Derek is Yeah, Trayvon Walker
He,
good.
he, he
Trevor
didn't
Lawrence had a good game,
he didn't do anything crazy last game, but they seem to be a
but
little
he's
bit more
good.
competitive than they've been. Derrick Henry, yeah, Derrick Henry's cooked.
I fear.
It's over.
I mean, here,
The efficiency.
oh, yeah, it's just not good.
It's been going bad, and he's coming off an injury, and it's the offensive line's worse, and the Titans are just a mess. Derrick Henry or Lance is turning into Zion of the NFL. I mean, Zion though, the difference is that Zion, like we know he's great. Lance, we don't really know that.
Yeah,
So it's even a little tougher to say than that. But I mean, both are hurt a lot.
we barely talked about the Cowboys, only the Bengals.
I didn't have much to say about them, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I will say this. I highly considered picking CeeDee Lamb as one of my projected top fantasy performers this week for FanDuel. Just because I'm like, there is no one else in that offense really to get involved at this point. The offensive line's hurt, so the run game is going to be less efficient. Isn't and I think Dalton Schultz got hurt, didn't he?
Did he? I didn't know. I didn't see that.
I think he got hurt. Um, Dalton Schultz. Okay, they're saying Schultz could return, but yeah, he's iffy right now is what they're saying. But yeah, I think like Lamb is right now the only guy that I feel comfortable going to in that offense. The only problem is it's like Cooper Rush is throwing the ball, and I'm just like,
He was all right. I
He was
mean,
all right, but like I don't know.
I
They're playing
disagree.
the Giants.
See, this is why I actually don't think CD is just not like a tier one receiver. I don't think. To me, he
In
hasn't proved that he
fantasy
is
or just like in
either.
general? Okay.
I
Fair.
think that. I mean, Schultz, I think, is a good weapon, and I mean, Noah Brown got a bunch of targets,
Yeah.
and I'm not particularly high on Noah Brown. I think you're gonna have Gallup come back eventually,
Yeah.
but there
No.
are people
That's
who
the
are
thing. I ended up not picking Lamb just because I was just like, is he actually gonna get the volume that he needs? Because I don't know. I'm taking Michael Thomas was one of the guys I went with. Um, I it, at some point they're gonna have to get him like fully involved in that offense. And to have 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks, like I think it's pretty clear that like he's good. So I think this might be the week where they just go all in on Michael Thomas and it could be his game. Um, but yeah, you gotta talk about Jalen Hurts. The Eagles played Minnesota. Those are the teams that we've been talking about. They could be top of the NFC. It looks like, and the Eagles the Eagles blew them out. That game was never really that close.
14 wins in a divisional round exit on the way.
God, come on, man. Come
It's,
on.
I'm sorry, I hate to say it. They're a great team, though. It's a great roster.
They look awesome.
Um,
The offensive line is like perfect. Like Jason Kelsey looks as good as he ever has. Jalen Hurts is running so strong. I mean, he's so strong with the football in his hands. And he was throwing really well last night too. So I mean, he's now up to third in MVP odds. So the narrative is coming together.
he's not the most valuable player in the league. I don't get that at all. I'm afraid. So because he's a quarterback on a good team, so he has to be MVP. I'm sorry, dude. I can't do it, man. He's playing well, but
Yeah. No, I get it.
I don't know.
If we're gonna go by like what the MVP actually should mean, as opposed
Right.
to who, but
No,
that's not
but
what the
like
award like.
even yeah, that's the Bryce Young winning Heisman of MVPs. And Bryce Young winning Heisman was so ridiculous. This is why I really hate the Heisman Award. You think the MVP is bad? At least they've got an excuse. Heisman has no excuse to be bad. It just is.
Yeah. No, I understand. Like at this point, it's like Mahomes is I think is the favorite right now, and for good reason. Loss of Tyreek Hill and the offense still looks like the best in football or one of the best in football. Josh Allen, you could put in that group, and those are probably the only two guys right now that I think are actually the most valuable. Or I think you could put Lamar up there right now. Also, Lamar looks really good. Um, but yeah, as good as the Eagles roster is, I can understand not giving it to Hurts. I mean, he would have to have like an insane year.
Yeah,
Diggs offensive player of the year. Diggs looks, bro. How
he
many
had a good
yards did
game.
he? How many yards did he have last night? Like just
He had a whole
the
bunch. I didn't watch it. He had 3 touchdowns, didn't he? Going crazy.
yes.
He's a tier one receiver. He really
Oh,
is.
he went 12 for 150 and 3 touchdowns. So, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a pretty good game, I would say.
it's not bad.
How would you feel if a QB won MVP and offensive player of the year? It's happened before. It's not like an unfeasible idea.
Yeah,
But I think at this
it
point we're
shouldn't
kind of
happen.
It shouldn't. Like at this point, we've gotten to the point I think where MVP is just a quarterback award, and Offensive Player of the Year is just a skill position award. That's kind of where we're at this point, which it sucks a little bit. And if there's like a receiving season that is so outrageous, or a rushing season that is so outrageous, and no quarterback is really like standing alone, then maybe. But like for as long as like Mahomes and Allen and Herbert are playing at the level that they are, and Lamar, you're probably not getting a running back or receiver MVP. I fear.
Yeah, that's just what they've kind of done at this point. They're gonna give. They're gonna give. The Heisman Award really is the one that kills me, man. I'm fine with MVP and Offensive Player of the Year, but the Heisman sucks so bad. And people are just so like, and this.
Well, they
year,
gave it to Devonta. They gave it to Devonta Smith.
Like this year, I can tell you for a fact, best. Oh yeah, they gave it. Oh, they gave it to a receiver. They give it to two positions. They give it to quarterback and running back. They don't give it to wide receivers. They don't act. They've done it one time in the last 20 years. They don't. Yeah. They don't do that.
Right.
And that's not fair. You have to get yards to
win.
Do
defensive players get it?
Oh, like one time ever. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Why is it like that? Stupid.
One defensive
and Bryce
player,
Young wasn't even
receiver.
literally the two Heisman front runners are neither of them are the best player on their own team, man. Stroud and Young, those guys aren't the best player on their own team. But then inevitably, like, some quarterback puts up a bunch of counting stats against inferior opponents and then makes the playoffs, and they have to get it because they won a bunch and they put up a bunch of yards. But it's like CJ Stroud putting up 300 whatever on, Toledo means nothing to me. Okay, great.
Yeah. I mean, Bama has that linebacker, right?
Will Anderson, yeah.
Yeah, that's the best. Bro, I want to see him win Heisman.
Well, he can be the token defensive player, but he can't. They'll never give it to him. I'm afraid.
I thought last year we were pretty close to getting a defensive Heisman. Because there was talk of Hutchinson and shit.
That's just talk. They're never going to give it to him. And Bryce Young was like, he's good, but I don't know why he got hyped up like that.
I keep seeing people saying the Titans are going to draft Will Levis. I haven't gotten to watch a lot of Kentucky.
I haven't watched him either.
Okay.
So I can't.
But I know they beat my Redhawks.
I know who else beat your Redhawks? Cincinnati. Yeah.
Matt, I just sent in my power rankings for this week. They'll come out tomorrow. You know who's 32?
Oh, Panthers. They're not the worst team in the league.
They are.
They're better than the Texans. Oh yeah. Yep. Texans are just low. You see how this is one of the number one problems in sports is when people are evaluating players or teams, they evaluate them based off of like what their expectations for that team is and whether or not they're meeting them or exceeding them. So like the Texans go out there, they're 1-1 right now, and people are like, they're fighting hard. They're playing tough. They score 9 points, but they're battling. And that's all we need from them this year.
Bro, you act like the Panthers aren't also low expectations.
The Panthers going into this season had higher expectations than the Texans for what would be considered a good season for them. This is true.
I probably would have ranked the Texans higher in preseason rankings.
Stop. And even then, if you think the Texans are the better team, it's more about like what they needed to do this year. It's like year one, Lovie Smith on a terrible team has a lot more leeway to be bad than like a 4-win season for the Texans feels like, okay, no big deal. 4-win season for the Panthers, Matt Rule's gone by the end of the year and fans are mad. So it's
I guess, but the Panthers don't look good.
Or they're terrible. But
They're terrible.
this is how
I'll give you my bottom. I'll give you my bottom 5 because I changed it since I last sent it to you and Theo. I have bottom 5 is Panthers, Falcons, Bears, Jets, Commanders.
The Commanders aren't a bottom 5 team.
I think you and Theo are a little too high on the Commanders. Carson Wentz is going to either Carson Wentz has the ability to make big plays, but the Carson Wentz that you are going to see every other week or every 2 weeks. That is a team that is unserious.
Carson Wentz is okay. Like the 20th best quarterback.
But
he at least pushes the ball. I don't know. Has Washington's offense been that bad these last couple games?
They were not great last week.
Put up 28. It's not so bad. Wentz had a couple turnovers, but
Wentz.
He had one. I don't know. No. They kind of got good receivers. Let me see who else.
The Jets.
You didn't have the Giants. I don't know. I think the Giants are completely unserious, honestly.
The Giants. I'm gonna give the Giants the benefit of the doubt for being 2-0. They can get that for now.
Oh, you know what? Opinion? I'll give you that. If they're 2-0, fine. You're not gonna put a bottom 5. Fair enough. The Seahawks, Geno Smith, that did not last very long, did it? Carson Wentz is better than Geno Smith.
I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll give you that. But I like the rest of the Seahawks roster. Their receivers are better. I think their running backs are better. The offensive line's a bit iffy, but you could say the same thing about Washington. And I like a lot of the defensive pieces in Seattle. Quandre Diggs is good. I think Tariq Woolen has a lot of potential at corner. I don't hate Seattle's roster. It's just Geno Smith is just not good, right?
See, Seattle's entered year 1 of a rebuild. So
yeah. And it's it's a good rebuild, right? They have some pieces in place already. They have a bad quarterback and they're going to be kind of bad this year. And they're going to get a shot to draft a quarterback that they like, and whether or not they pick the right guy, we'll see, but And if Geno's the bridge guy, I don't think that's a bad guy to have there. So
I'm not moved by Geno.
I like the way. What? You're not moved by Geno's a bridge quarterback?
No, he's not. Geno Smith is not a bridge quarterback
because he was never a good one.
You have to solidly be the starter to be a bridge quarterback. You're not a bridge quarterback if you play 4 games and then people start chanting for the backup, which would happen next year if they spend a high draft pick on a quarterback.
Hey, that happens to Tyrod every single year.
It happens to Tyrod. Probably happen to Baker next year or something. Who knows?
Yeah. Baker is entering year 5.
Mitch Trubisky is not a bridge quarterback.
but Geno's been in the league for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he gets the veteran title enough to.
I don't think that matters. I don't think anyone would care if the Seahawks went and drafted a quarterback in the first round next year. How many bad Geno Smith games could you get through? Same thing with Mitch Trubisky, dude. What are they doing with that?
I don't know.
I think they should just go ahead and start. They should quit screwing around.
The Browns play the Steelers this Thursday. And I'm not sure how I'm leaning on it yet because without TJ Watt, the Steelers defense isn't going to be as terrifying as it normally would. Cam Hayward's still him. Minka's still him. I don't know. I might pick the Browns, but I'm not.
Where did you have the Browns on your power rankings?
Pretty low.
Yeah, they aren't that good.
I had the Browns at 19, the Steelers at 18.
The Browns at 19 may be a little high. I think they're that bad. I kind of think they really stink.
But I think, do you think they're better than the Bengals right now? Bro, the Bengals look awful.
I would take the Bengals over them right now.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. The Bengals look really bad. I had the Bengals at 21.
I think you're looking too much at the record.
That offense just looks totally inept. The defense looks out of sorts. Jesse Bates doesn't look nearly the same. I thought like Jesse Bates didn't look like a top safety last season, but then in the playoffs he stepped it up, and I'm like, okay, he was just in a slump. He's back, but now he's looking even worse than he was before the playoffs now. So I'm just like, I don't know.
Really, you think the Browns are better than the Bengals right now?
I kind of do. I
They're
kind of
not.
do. The one thing I'll give the Bengals is like their defensive coordinator isn't like a pile of shit. So
And they have a way better quarterback. I mean, their passing offense is like leagues better, and they've had a couple rough games. But
yeah,
like the Browns are 1-1 after playing two bottom five teams,
that's
and
fair.
both of them were single score games.
That's fair.
Like they looked completely on par with those teams.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Maybe my Browns bias is showing a hair. But
And I kind of think the Steelers are not that great either, honestly. And I think like Trubisky, dude,
Trubisky's holding that team back.
it is it is bad, man. I mean, I hate to just crush him. He's like, because he was getting a lot of hype last year, but like
Yeah.
they just can't throw at all. It's like Brissett
No.
level, where
It's really Brissett might look a little bit better than Trubisky.
I mean,
Brissett's made some nice throws.
this is the
But
thing.
the
There
Steelers
really
defense is so good.
it is. There really is a difference between like the 30th best quarterback and the 20th. Like the 28th best quarterback versus the 20th, there's a gap. Like that is not nothing.
Yeah. I guess that's
So,
fair. I'm
like,
not there's certain teams where I'm still a little bit unsure about, like the Patriots. I'm not sure how serious that team is yet.
you know who I wish the Steelers had gotten Wentz.
That would have been kind of fun.
Wentz, because at least he could have pushed the ball down the field.
Yeah.
That's
And they have the
I think that
receivers for that.
there's a lot of mediocre quarterbacks who don't push the ball down the field. I'll take a Wentz who pushes the ball down the field. He might take you out of some games you would have won, but with a defense as good as yours, being aggressive, you probably don't get penalized as much for that. That would
Yeah.
have been better than what they did this offseason.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Yeah, you get Minka like hawking in the red zone, even if you're turning the ball over. You're probably not giving up a lot of points anyway. Yeah, Carson Wentz on the Steelers could have been kind of crazy.
It could have been all right. I think it could have gotten them to the playoffs. I would have done that over spend a first on Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. Yeah, I was about to say if you're drafting Kenny Pickett, then maybe you're not doing that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. How do you feel about? I have Detroit at 17. I think that
I get it. Detroit has some problems.
I wanted to put them a little bit higher. Their offensive line is like so good.
Let's.
He said, "Let's pump the brakes a little bit."
These again. This is another team. They played the Eagles pretty competitively last year. We'll see.
Yeah.
They're a little hard to judge. They have some problems. So Goff
looked really strong last week.
I'm not gonna buy into that for super long, but their offensive weapons are better. And Goff, I think, can be okay. He is one of those guys who can actually be okay. Their front seven is not that strong. Their defense is really not. Their defense, like the talent level, is just taking so long to catch up. But Okudah played well.
Yeah, I was about to say their corners have really.
Their secondary is pretty good.
But yeah, the front seven's a little shaky.
The front seven's a little weak. But
the offensive line's great. The run game looks great. The receivers look solid. So like
calling them a top half team is a little weird. It's a little weird. I mean, they're 1-1. It's not that crazy at this point, but it's a lot of teams
that's why I have them at 17 right now. I'm like, it's a little weird to call them a top half of the league team. So I'll put them at 17.
Right.
If the Titans keep looking this bad, they're gonna fall really fast. The Colts have already fallen. I mean, the Colts look just straight up awful. Like, Matt Ryan doesn't even look like a shell of like himself. It's ridiculous.
They just can't get their offense going the way they want to. I don't think
Yeah.
their passing game is still like pretty below average. And they haven't been, running Taylor a whole bunch, or at least they didn't last game, I
Well,
think.
that
I could be
was
totally wrong about
when
that.
um
They
in
had
before
9
the
carries. It's
season
like
their coach said that they did not want Jonathan Taylor to lead the league in rushing again, and they wanted to get Nyheim Hines more involved in the passing game. I'm pretty sure. What was the quote? Like they wanted him to lead the team in catches or something. And I'm like, that's like if that's what you want to do, fine. But
that's stupid.
yeah, like give the ball to your
Use your
best
best
player.
players. It's dumb. It makes no sense. Sorry. You gotta use it. I mean, and I understand they didn't have the receivers last game, but like Jesus, dude.
In
I
the
don't. I
Lions'
even
defense,
then,
his
I
number
just
one
don't
receiver is
think
Ashton Doolin. Yeah, I'll give you
Matt
that. The
Matt
receiving
Ryan
core.
Matt Ryan crumples anytime there's pressure around them. He don't got it, man. They'll be better than this, but that was not an upgrade from Wentz. I don't think.
No, I thought it would be. I thought Matt Ryan was going to be able to get the ball downfield to Pittman, and I thought Pierce was going to be an up. Well, Pierce also got hurt. Um, but like, man, I mean, he looks totally terrible, like just completely inept. So, but hopefully they pull it together. I have them at 27 right now because they just look god awful.
I get that.
I moved the Dolphins way up to 8.
To 8.
I mean,
Uh,
who's stopping those receivers? Like really? I mean, the one thing you could say is like, well, the Ravens had like no secondary. They had like a 4th-round rookie corner, and Kyle Hamilton looks awful. And like Marlon Humphrey got like taken out of the game, and Marcus Peters didn't look great. He got burnt, but like everyone kind of gets burnt against Tyreek. I don't know. I kind of
they're not good at quarterback. They're
no,
not good at running back. Their
no,
offensive line is not that good. I
no.
love
But
the
everything
receivers.
everything
I
else
like
is
the
good though.
coach. And their defense gave up 38 points.
True, but it was like that's like Lamar, right? Like
Yeah, but you got to be if you can't play good defense against good players, you're not a good defense.
I guess that's fair.
Ravens defense
But
isn't
like,
unstoppable.
I think they're better than the Packers right now.
Possibly.
I would take them
I
over the
don't know.
Packers, the Cowboys, the Rams,
I don't
the
know.
Raiders right now, Tennessee, Arizona. The teams where I'm like a little bit iffy. The only team that I have 2 teams over that I have Miami over them a little bit iffy on. It's the Saints and the Vikings. The Vikings
Saints and the
might be a little bit
Vikings.
recency bias, but I'm like, bro,
Saints
the
have not
Vikings,
impressed me the last couple of
they
weeks, man.
haven't.
Nah, man.
So like I'm not feeling the Saints.
Jameis played bad and he was hurt. So
Doesn't he have like a broken back? Like what
yeah, but like I understand he's got a broken back, but or fractured back, but like making like a read super late. I'm having a hard time seeing the connection. Like one of his interceptions was tough.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the Saints haven't looked impressive. The Vikings defense is like their secondary is bad. Like straight up not good. It's like Cam Dantzler and a completely ancient Patrick Peterson at the corners. I'm like every other top 10 team has a receiver that can absolutely decimate them.
so
I'm
who's
just
going to
like
be the Panthers' next quarterback? Kirk Cousins or Ryan Tannehill? Who do we think here?
Kirk Cousins or Ryan Tannehill?
It's going to be one of the two, man.
It's got to be, right?
It's going to be Tannehill, man. It's going to be horrible.
how Matt Rule 5 years from now still the coach?
Well, it's they're in on every deal, which means they just make a bunch of bad trades. That's like their whole thing. Like we're in on every deal. I can't stand them right now.
They're really
And I don't,
bad.
dude, I
They're
really
really.
don't. I'm not moved by anybody from this quarterback class yet. I want Quinn Ewers. That's who I want.
Like Richardson is supposedly the guy, but like he looks
He's played
yeah,
rough the last 2 weeks.
yeah, he has. Like he's really spotty. Like he has some good moments, but like, bro, what was it? If you're not like if you don't look like the very best player in college football, you're not an NFL
You got to
quarterback.
look special, man. I mean, it's like it's not even necessarily. The problem is that Josh Allen has like totally changed how people view quarterbacks, or they're like super. I mean, when Josh Allen got drafted, I remember people called it so stupid, and it's like it wasn't. But now people care about traits, and people think that you can't go too far with that.
Yeah.
Um, and
Well, because here's the thing, Josh Allen traits, no one has traits like that. Right? People are looking at like, oh, Zach Wilson's the next Josh Allen. Zach Wilson isn't 6'7" and like 260 pounds. Like, what are we talking about?
I don't like Stroud. Yeah, I'm not. Stroud is not moved me yet. I'm afraid.
Yeah,
I hate to say it,
Stroud.
dude. Stroud, we'll see. I'm willing to be wrong, but I think he's going to look like every other Ohio State quarterback who gets in the NFL and is not playing, Toledo with a great offensive line and great receivers every week, and
Yeah,
doesn't have the pocket presence for it.
yeah. I mean, when was like the last time Ohio State had a bad receiving core?
Probably
It's
when Haskins was starting. When it wasn't not, I guess it
yeah,
wasn't
because it
bad
was
by
like
college football standards, but it was like KJ Hill and
Austin
Benjamin
Mack,
Victor and Austin Mack and maybe McLaurin, but McLaurin was not who he is now
right?
at Ohio State.
Yeah, Benjamin Victor was not good. Mack was. I think Mack was probably the best receiver there.
I think it was KJ Hill, me personally. But
Oh yeah, I guess yeah, KJ Hill. But Austin Mack was him. Austin Mack was Dax Milne before Dax Milne was a thing. Uh,
like, yeah, like I think Quinn Ewers and Caleb Williams would be quarterback 1 and 2 in this draft class. And it's like I see.
Caleb
I guess
Williams.
I haven't watched everybody. I haven't looked at everyone. I mean, Tyler Van Dyke is like not going to get drafted. I don't think. Um,
I mean, Kyle
he's. I
Trask got
mean,
drafted, so
Kyle Tripp. Maybe I'm wrong. Then Ravens legend Benjamin Victor. Did he play for the Ravens for a little bit?
I think he plays for them right now.
You're lying. He made a
He
roster.
would. I think I saw him in the preseason. Hold on,
He's not on the.
Benjamin
He didn't make
Victor.
the 53 though. That's pretty impressive if he did.
Um, I think he did.
You're lying. I'm looking at their depth chart right now.
So am I.
I don't think he quite made it. Maybe he's on their practice squad.
Maybe it's, but I look up Benjamin Victor and it says he's a receiver for the Baltimore Ravens.
Maybe he's on the practice squad. I'm looking at ESPN and it's saying
On the
I
NFL,
don't see him.
on the Ravens team roster, BaltimoreRavens.com, he is on the team roster.
Well, he
Oh,
must
he's
be
on the practice squad.
then.
He's practice
Okay,
squad.
fair enough. Good for Benjamin Victor then.
Yeah, he looked
He had
pretty
that one.
solid. He looked pretty solid in the preseason. So I was like,
Hey, you think Auburn fell off, or you think Penn State is just good? I don't know. I think I didn't watch that game, so I can't tell you honestly. Um,
you know who did fall off? Notre Dame.
oh my God, dude, they don't have a quarterback at all.
Bro,
This is
have
a
they
problem
ever
with
had a
them.
quarterback?
No, not that I can remember. No, Ian
Yeah.
Book was okay for them by college
Yeah,
standards.
I mean, by college standards, I'm like,
But I mean, the way they played Cincinnati last year, they went through 3 quarterbacks in the game, and that was all while they were like in the game. It was really funny. Tired of Benjamin Victor slander. I'm not slandering Benjamin Victor. Shout
he
out
literally
that
just
one
said good
play
for
he had
him.
against Penn State. Shout out the one memorable Benjamin Victor play.
Ohio State legend Benjamin Victor.
A Bears fan who isn't delusional is wondering what are your guys' opinions on Fields' potential. I mean, this is it for him. He's got to look like he's got to really start looking consistently good, and
Yeah.
he's got to string together some good games this season. Um,
If not,
I
yeah,
understand
it's
he's in a little bit of a tough spot, but
you got to do something.
yeah,
I thought their first drive against Green Bay looked really solid. And then after that, they just completely crumbled. But I mean, I think you just got to come out and do something. You know, it's going to be hard to like string together high level plays with, you know, kind of that receiving core is not very good. I don't know. I just want to see like consistency, getting through your reads, like making the easy stuff. If he can just like hit the easy stuff, and then we can talk about like if he can hit the occasional big play.
how bad is Herbert hurt?
Bro, I'm pretty sure he like shattered his ribs.
Yeah,
Bro, he looked in pain in that Chiefs. He looked so hurt.
I'm looking it
I
up
dropped the
now.
Charger. I dropped the Chargers a little bit in my power rankings. Actually, did I
He
drop
has a
them?
chance to play Week 3.
There's no
Um,
way, bro. Bro, he looked so fucked. Maybe it was just a crack, but he looked.
Fractured his rib cartilage. What does that mean? What is rib cartilage?
It's it's like what is it? You know, you know, like if you're having some ribs, it's like that long piece of. It's not bone, but it's not meat.
He'll be all right.
It's like in between the meat and the bone.
This happened to Cam Newton every single game he played for the Carolina Panthers, and I never heard this type of praise for him. Put on a flak jacket and get back out there, dude.
God damn.
Yeah, I mean, we he'll be all right if he's day to
He'll be
day.
all right. Yeah.
It's Tuesday and he's day to day. He's fine,
Yeah.
right? Like he'll be all right. Like, and Herbert's already a guy who like goes out of his way to avoid hits, so I'm actually not too worried about that. And on top of it, like a rib injury, if we were talking about a limb, we'd be talking about something a little bit differently. But he'll be okay.
Yeah. I
I'm
guess you
saying
can
he's all right and not a he's a baby way, but he'll be
yeah.
fine way. This is not a
Fractured ribs ruin breeze. Well, it's the cartilage. It's not the actual bone.
right.
But we'll see. We'll see.
9 touchdowns against New Mexico State does not move me. That's what I'm talking about. Like I just don't care what these guys do against those teams, man.
9 touchdowns against New Mexico State does not move.
Your ear is made of cartilage.
Yeah.
How do you fracture that? JUCO legend, Blinn College legend, Cam Newton. You know, my thing, I really dislike Andrew Luck. He gets talked about the way that Cam Newton should get talked about. I saw some like video, and it was like ranking all the quarterbacks from this like Heisman class, and one of them was like Andrew Luck. It's a terrible, poor, pitiful shame what happened to him. The Colts did him dirty. Blah blah blah, and then it was like Cam Newton, who's like honestly pretty disappointing career. Ended short, not surprising. It's like, wow, dude. It's a shame.
Yeah. I mean, Andrew Luck played 7 games in 15. Played 15 and 16. I mean, he did lead the league in touchdowns in 2014.
It's not Andrew Luck's fault at all, but it just makes me mad. And then people will be like, who is better, Andrew Luck or Cam Newton? It's like, who do people think Andrew Luck was?
I mean, he was good.
Stop.
He was good.
He was a good quarterback. He was pretty good. He's like top 10. People act like this was like Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, I'll give you that. I mean, Cam Newton did have the 50 touchdown season.
Hey, look, dude, Cam Newton. They're sending Cam Newton out there with like Fozzie Whitaker, his wide receiver 1, man.
People want to talk about what would you guys feel like if a quarterback won MVP and Offensive Player of the Year? Cam did.
He did. He
He
deserved it
did.
too.
He did. Yeah, he deserved it. MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, All Pro, First Team, Pro Bowl. That's about as good of a season. The only thing that would have like peaked that season is if they had won the Super Bowl. But like, well, they were 15-1, got every award you could have possibly won, except for like Walter Payton, Man of the Year, I guess. Would be the only other one that he could have added on to that.
Cam Newton only had one elite season. Cam Newton was pretty darn good for a lot of seasons, actually. I disagree with that.
Cam Newton's rookie year is really impressive because of like what was it? The offense that they were running like the year before was like one of the worst in the league. And then he came in and then immediately it's one of the best.
Oh yeah. Cam Newton is still the best rookie quarterback ever. I think he still holds the record for most touchdowns in a rookie season.
Total touchdowns?
Yeah.
Probably. It'd be him, then like Baker and Manning. And
Herbert's probably up there too.
Herbert. Actually, it's him, then Herbert, then Baker and Manning are tied. Herbert would have a pretty close second best rookie season. Herbert was fucking awesome.
Don't slander Fozzie Whitaker, Jonathan Stewart, and Devin Funches. Fozzie Whitaker and Jonathan Stewart. I'll give you Devin Funches.
Whitaker?
Devin Funches.
Not Fozzie Whitaker,
stunk, man. Fozzie Whitaker was a solid backup.
Don't
Matt,
slander,
please take back your Lions
Mike
take.
Tolbert.
No. Hold on. This is I won't slander Mike Tolbert. You know that, but this is garbage. I made a video yesterday. I was like, right now, like the Hornets Panthers like NBA NFL combo is pretty bleak, right? Like it's got to be the bleakest combo out there. And I'll admit that Wizards Commanders is up there too, right? But then I had a bunch of people in the comments being like, dude, Detroit, what are we talking about? Detroit is literally like the darling sweetheart rebuilding team in both the NBA and the NFL. So I don't buy into that at all. Detroit has lost its card to complain about being hopeless.
Yeah,
you would rather be a Panthers fan than a Lions fan right now?
No. Hell no, bro. The Panthers are a joke, like straight up like laughing stock, like not good at all.
Yeah, it's sad. Rockets, Texans, Rockets are in good. Yeah, you know what? The Rockets stink. Right, the Rockets have no future. Right, the Rockets are super bleak right now. No. If I said that, I would get killed. This is the thing. If I go say anything negative about the Lions or Pistons rebuild, I'm gonna get crushed on Twitter or on TikTok. But then I also have to act like they're hopeless when it's time to complain about how bad our teams are. Hornets Panthers is another stratosphere, dude. People imagine like if people also hated your best, like people don't like LaMelo. People like Anthony Edwards has been deemed the good guy under dubious circumstances from that draft class, I'm afraid. So
first of all, the
Panthers, Hornets.
Who's saying the Rockets are of like a bleak franchise?
They're not. I don't think they're bleak at all.
They are 4 years removed from having like the greatest scorer the greatest like single season scoring ever. And then like now they have like a bunch of nice young guys on their team. Like what?
I mean, yeah, you got to realize with the Rockets, I mean, we're talking about a franchise that's got like a top 10 player all time historically. You've seen an MVP. You've been, a game off of making it to the finals. The Hornets have never made it to the conference finals ever. So, I mean, we're talking, this is the worst franchise in the NBA outside of maybe the Wizards. LaMelo is underrated at this point.
Sacramento and Seattle. Sacramento, I might give you.
Seattle won a championship,
but
pretty recently, all things considered, in the NFL.
A decade ago.
I'll give you the Kings, but even then, with the Kings, like they're on this horrible, and they're bad. They're bad.
But like Fox is good.
Yeah, But
And he's like,
they're in a rough spot.
he's a likable player and he's good. So like you have that.
Is this recording going to be posted anywhere? I think it gets posted on Spotify and Apple, but
Yeah,
I could be
it'll be
wrong.
added. It'll be added to the RSS, and it'll also be live on YouTube immediately after the stream ends. So you'll be able to rewatch the whole thing with the live chat on YouTube again.
Anthony Edwards did kind of Anthony Edwards did kind of set himself up for some failure with that. That was a stupid thing to do.
Seattle was good.
He's a dummy.
Seattle did like win a title, and then they were like good for 8 years after that. Like, yeah, you can't complain about Seattle, I think.
Matt, have you seen the Panthers win a playoff game? I'm not going to again, dude. Like, I'm sorry, and the Pistons have won 3 championships. What are we talking about here? And you would rather be a fan of both those teams.
You know,
we'll
keep
see what happens with
TikTok. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
I was just saying, we'll see what happens with that Anthony Edwards stuff. I wonder if it's just going to be the fine, or if I saw Kareem call them out for it.
Oh, really?
But I don't know. I don't want to.
I keep meaning to make a TikTok about this, about how Dallas Cowboys fans keep complaining as if like they have this disastrous franchise. Bro, what? They have like the second most Super Bowls ever of any NFL franchise. They make the playoffs like almost every year. They have a young, good quarterback. Now he's hurt, but he's a young, good quarterback. They have like some of the best offensive line groups in NFL history. They've had like multiple Rookie of the Year players. They have like some of the greatest. They have some of the greatest players of all time. Like running back, one of the greatest ever. Offensive lines, one of the greatest ever. Receivers, one of the greatest ever. They had Dion. Like they have so many claims to fame, and they're like, terrible team to be a fan of. And they're like not a bad team. A little rough right now because Dak's hurt and the offensive line's a bit shaky, but like you have a good defense.
I don't know. They get a lot of
number one, I guess, but their corner last year led the league in interceptions. There's a lot. I feel like there's a lot to be happy about if you're a Cowboys fan, me personally.
I get it.
Dak is young. I would say he's still pretty young. What is he, 26, 27?
I think so. I don't really know.
It's not like he's 30. Dion was almost 30 years ago. Sure, but like still. Cowboys always good enough to get let down. I'm sorry, man. Like, bro, I'm a Browns fan. Matt is a Panthers fan. Those are teams where you can be like, it sucks. Being a Bengals fan, that's got to be painful, except for like last year. But like, come on. The Cowboys are notoriously like a historically great franchise. Sorry, like, I just can't be upset about that. I'd rather be a Browns fan than a Cardinals fan, but you're a Dolphins fan. Dak is 29. I did not know that.
He's pushing it.
Pushing it. Yeah, you're not a little boy anymore, I guess. Diggs is toast merchant. All right.
I'm probably.
It is almost 5:00. We can probably call it at this point. Matt can go and try and fix his Wi-Fi. Everyone go text Theo in the chalkboard. Wish him a get well soon. So he can get some film review in and get ready for a podcast on tomorrow. Actually, we'll be recording. But thank you all for tuning in, and as always, from Matt and Blaiden today, but soon Theo will also be back. We will catch you all on the flippity flop.